Do you know what are the very first words that Jesus speaks in the gospel? Well, in the Gospel of John, you just heard them. Those are his first words. What do you want? Remember, the Gospel of John has no birth story about Jesus. It begins with this poetic prologue about how the Christ emerges from the essence of all reality. It then moves to John baptizing at the Jordan with his disciples, and then suddenly, Jesus just walks across the scene as an adult male now, no birth story. He just appears as an adult. Two of John's disciples start to follow Jesus. He turns to them and says, "What do you want?" The first words out of his mouth are so existential. What do you want? Reflect on this for a moment. What is it that you want most of all? Oh, what a question. In our Gospels, Jesus asks 307 questions. 307. He offers about 4 or 5 answers, depending on how you count them. He seems to be signaling that the spiritual path will consist more of asking good questions than it will of simply wielding easy answers. And this question, his first words, is a doozy. What do you really want? I know if I ask myself that question, it's hard because I want so many things. Could I really isolate what I want most? I want so many things. I want things to be normal again. I want my sons to be happy in their lives. I want to have a fulfilling but challenging life. I want so many things. I want UNL football to make more field goals, right? I mean, I have so many wants in my life. I want Daniel Craig to remain James Bond. I do. But I've got all these wants, and it's difficult to reflect, what do I want most? Whoa. The modern philosopher James K. Smith believes that you are defined by your wants. He says you will love what you want, and then you will become what you want because your whole life will be oriented towards what you most desire. He believes that human beings are not primarily knowers or thinkers or even believers. Human beings are lovers, and they will strive after, they will love things. What do you love most? What do you want most? It will define your life. What a question Jesus asks us. Buddhist philosophy has been very important in my life. And Buddhism and Christianity take very different approaches towards our desires, towards what we want. In Buddhist philosophy, it is our desires that will create all the suffering in our lives. It's those desires that they think produces the unsatisfactory, frustrating nature to our lives itself, because they believe that you will always be seeking after these things that you desire, and when you finally get hold of something, you will grab onto it so hard because the human being, according to Buddhist philosophy, the human being finds it almost impossible to acknowledge the impermanence of all things, that all things are transitory, that even the things you most want or most love, all of that is transient You can't hold on to it. So it's our desires that create this clinging approach to life, and it's deeply frustrating. Christianity has a very different approach to our desires. Christianity believes that we are made to desire. It defines who we are. We are lovers, but Christianity seeks to shape our desires, to help us begin to want the best things, the highest, most noble things. Augustine believed that you are made to love, but our loves can become disordered, not what is best for us or others. And so Christianity, the entire religion, is trying to shape your wants, your desires, so that you will seek after the best things. There's a genre of jokes that is really lame. It's never really that funny. But this genre of jokes has a very penetrating psychological wisdom embedded in it. I'm talking about those genie jokes. You remember these go, someone finds a lamp, they rub it, a genie comes out and offers 3 wishes, right? There's a bunch of those. The sort of classic one is, there's 3 people stranded on a desert island. They find a lamp, rub it, the genie comes out, offers 3 wishes. One of them says, I want to go home. Boom, he's back home. The other one goes, I want to go home too. Boom, she's back home. The last person says, I'm lonely. I wish my friends were back. Boom. Inside these genie jokes is this psychological wisdom that we will often wish for what is not best for ourselves. What we want, in fact, can be self-destructive at times. It's hard to want the right things. One version of that joke, a guy finds a lamp, rubs it, genie comes out, offers 3 wishes. This guy says, I wish there was no such thing as mathematics. The genie goes, you bet, this one's on me. The guy says back, do you mean I still have 3 wishes? And the genie says, huh? We don't always wish for what will be best, even if we think it's what we want. It doesn't work out best for us or for others. A man finds a lamp, rubs it, and a genie comes out and says, I will grant you 3 wishes. That man says, I want a lot of money. He gets a lot of money. Next, he wishes for world peace. There's world peace. Lastly, he says, I want my family to be happy. And the genie suddenly looks at him very concerned and says, are you sure that's what you want? He says, yes, I want my family to be happy, finally. And then slowly the man begins to fade away. We don't always want what will actually be best. What do you really want? We gather here all the time because Christianity is trying to shape our desires. The whole force of the faith tries to surround us and help us want the highest, most noble things. We gather here a lot, but my friends, mostly we are elsewhere. And in society and culture, it will constantly be trying to shape your desires. And I have been feeling these past 5, 6, 7 years as if society is doubling down on trying to somehow determine what I want, what I desire, all of the politics and the cultural things, trying to shape my desires. And I'm feeling it's more important to resist that, to seek for myself. And in Christian community, what should I really want? So we gather here. You have chosen to come here this morning, to take some special time and together to shape our desires. What Christianity says is it's trying to have you desire God. That's the classic spiritual phrase, to desire God. And I know that sounds a little strange. I mean, God is infinite. God is closer to me than my own breathing. What does it mean to desire God? It means to seek after those highest, most noble things. What will always be best for you and all of us. But we spend more time out there in society. Pay attention. It's trying to shape your desires. Have you heard of that shipwreck between the Monroe and the Nantucket? It happened in 1914. Have you heard of this one? It's terrible. There was heavy fog off the Virginia coast. The Monroe was a steamer ship. The Nantucket was a merchant-class ship. They collided. 41 people perished in the icy waters of the Atlantic. The Monroe immediately listed to its side, so that whole side of lifeboats couldn't be used. As people scrambled for what remained, it was a horrible scene. There was a court case that followed and an investigation, and the captain of the Monroe was on the witness stand, and it was determined that he had a compass that was off by 2 degrees. And he knew that this compass was off just slightly, but he thought it was good enough. And when they all realized that that had caused the wreck, that captain began to sob. The other captain rushed from the galley, and they hugged and they sobbed together. Sometimes you can be heading generally the right direction. But if you're just a little off, it can be tragic. What do you want? That's the direction you're taking in life. What do you most desire? This morning, while we're together, Jesus comes walking by, says to us, what do you really want? And here we are, right now, my brothers and sisters, here we are, trying to make sure that we are learning to desire the best things, what will be good for us. In the name of Christ, amen.